I'm Natalia Lobak, and this is Change Course. We are all change experts. Certainly, after the last 2 years that we've all gone through, what has become very clear to me is that we all now have, number one, a collective experience in change. And number two, we've all developed an expertise and an understanding of how change works and how people are affected by it. Prior to 2020, when I used to talk about my work as a change navigator, a lot of times people wouldn't really understand what it was that I was talking about, how to really help groups of people change, and looking at all of those key factors that help us change effectively. A lot of times the response I would get was, well, just make the change and people will have to deal with it. And I think now, after 2 years of this pandemic life, we now all have this understanding of why that doesn't work. So, interestingly, we've all developed this expertise in change. And the specific expertise that we've all learned about is how to be empathetic for others who are going through change. There's a great article from the Harvard Business Review that I read, refer to others often, and I will link it in the show notes for you so that you can read it as well. And it really talks about how the key to good change is empathy. And this is an old idea. So this idea has been around for a while. But what's interesting now is that I think people are really starting to live and to understand it. Because the key difference that we're talking about here is your role in change. Typically, when I work with people and with organizations, I'm working with an organization that wants to bring about transformation. They want to bring about change. And typically, I'm working with the leaders of that change. So when you're leading change, your problems are a little bit different. You're trying to figure out how to define that change, how to get people rallied around new ideas, how to implement new behaviors, how not to backslide into old patterns and behaviors, and how to make that change sustainable so that everyone can really experience the positive benefits of the new change that you want to bring about. At the same time, though, there are always individuals in that environment who are negatively affected by change. Why? Well, most often it's because the change is happening to them. They don't feel like they have a sense of control of what is happening. And in many ways, this is what change is. And this is where the collective experience that we've all had over the last 2 years can really help us understand how people go through change in their lives and in work. So the pandemic experience is interesting because it's a change that has happened to us. As much as our leaders, governments, authorities, etc., have tried to control the virus, it's actually, in many ways, something, it's an extraneous, external circumstance that we cannot control. And how this virus progresses, it's impersonal. It isn't considering how people feel or what people think. It just does what a virus does. It replicates, it spreads, and it can cause a great deal of morbidity and death and destruction as part of it. This is part of our human history. But what this experience has taught us now in this modern world is that when we're faced with change that we do not have control over, you get all sorts of different reactions and responses from people, depending on what their view is of the particular circumstance. And so, what's really interesting, and I think what we can learn from this and start to learn from this as we're still in it, and it's not over yet, is when change is happening to you, how can you take that experience and develop empathy for when you are again in a position where you are trying to lead change? How can that empathy inform how you relate to the people that you're leading and how you become a more effective change leader? So as you're thinking about, going through or planning changes that are, coming in 2022, either for your personal life or for your organization as a change leader, really think about and lean into that empathy. Now you have a real understanding of what it's like to have change happen to you, where you don't have control, where you're vulnerable, where you feel a loss of power. So how can you take that experience, learn from it, integrate it, and become a stronger and better change leader as we move forward? Thanks for listening, and I hope that this can support you on your change journey as we learn together about how to change course.